Welcome back to Whitten Oval, live on Fox Sports. Football chat right now. A-League football chat from the weekend. Robbie Cornthwaite and Archie Thompson. And we'll go back to Friday night. I was there with you, two fine gentlemen. And in the 2 days beyond, I haven't worked out a way how anyone's going to stop the sky blue train that is Sydney FC right now. Have you had to think about it and try to come up with something? Because they were, again, imperious.
They were. I mean,
moments.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the train keeps rolling on, and as you say, in different moments in the game, it required different things. I spoke about it on Friday night that they knew the Melbourne Victory were going to come out of the block strong. They had to defend resolutely, and then as the game went on, spaces started to open up, and Alexander Baumjohann was the key figure in that, as well as the front two in Lafondra and Barbarousos. Coming back to Amy Park for the first time, he was fantastic.
Archie, you've been there in a team that's been completely dominant throughout the course of the season. Melbourne Victory in season 2, and they just blew everyone away. What is it like when you're in an A-League season, midstream, thinking, man, this is just getting better and better?
It's a brilliant place to be. I'll tell you what, for a Sydney player and a Sydney fan, like Robbie said, they were unstoppable in patches. And that's what I love about Sydney. They don't have to be dominant the whole game, but they know when they can flick a switch, jump up a couple of gears, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're 2 or 3 ahead. And that's the story of last Friday night, because, again, they were outstanding.
It's a confidence thing as well, because, you know, like during the Champions League in 2008, you get on this wave of momentum, and I guarantee right now, they'd feel invincible. They think nobody can touch them. No matter what happens in the game, they'd be thinking, oh, we're going to win. They know how to switch the gears, as Archie said.
Here's their coach, Steve Corica, on perhaps the only thing that could bring them back to the pack, complacency.
We had a chat during the week, because, you know, that was the halfway mark, what we had achieved. That was great up until then, but there's areas that we can improve on, and we will improve on, and that one was obviously defensively, keeping clean sheets. We've done that, which was great today to see that. But I believe that we can be better with the ball. At times we get a little bit sloppy and we give the ball away a little bit too cheaply, but these areas that we can work on and get better. So there's no complacency. You know, we want to just keep winning.
I mean, the only issue out of Friday night, Alex Baumjohann losing his mind for a split second. It was soft, but it's still a red.
You make contact with a player's face with your hand, you're asking for trouble. I mean, it wasn't as though he raised an arm, because they were both lying on the floor. But he definitely makes contact. I don't think he's got any reason to be so frustrated in that incident. What did Lee Broxham really do? Nothing. He grabbed a bit of his shirt and maybe dragged him down in stoppage time, when your side was, what, 3-0 up at the time, and you've already had a brilliant game. You were man of the match. Yeah. It was just a bit silly, wasn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with Robbie. Yeah, there was no need for it. And also, too, with Broxham, that's a huge loss for Victory. He's such a stalwart, breaks a lot of the play up, and he's going to be missing for another crucial game against Perth away.
Do players... I mean, we're getting to the stage of the season where, you know, you can get a bit tired and things like that happen late in games, and there's yellow cards accumulating, and some players miss a game. Because the players talk about within themselves, within the dressing room, about discipline being a key factor, or is it all down to the coach?
No, I think the players talk about it, but you know, there's times where players are on yellow cards and they know that big games are coming up. Maybe there's a big blue, and towards the end of a season, those conversations come in where it's like, oh, maybe you take a yellow in this game to miss that game. But you know, at this point in the season, you're just going out there and playing. That was just a bit of a brain fade from him.
Do they ever say that they're going to take this yellow card to miss this game so they can go on a Bucks party or something like that?
Oh, I have done that before.
No surprises there.
Back in the old NSL, I might have pulled that card. Not these days, obviously.
But overall, Baumjohann was very, very good again on Friday. That's the frustrating thing from Sydney FC's point of view, that they don't get the guy to be able to show his consistency and do it again against Brisbane next weekend.
Listen, I think he's been a fantastic signing, but I do think he started the season rather slowly. I think for the first maybe half dozen games, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was pulled off after 60, 65 minutes. It was always that first change. But it's taken some time. He's grown into the team as you lose your rundown. The wind is picking up. Archie mentioned the wind a few times. But yeah, he's really coming into his own now. And, you know, with the Champions League starting as well, I think Sydney FC has still got to make the decision about maybe which player they leave out. So he's putting his hand up to stay in the ACL squad.
Now it's to our refreshing moment of the round, thanks to Canadian Club. And Archie Thompson, take it away, because your performance yesterday wound back the clock at Amy Park in the Rural Aid fixture that they were doing to raise money for the bushfires.
Yeah, look, great cause. I actually thought when I left the dressing room that I looked good in that green shirt and it didn't look as tight as what it looks like now. Obviously, I'm saying that I retain a lot of water. Look, I'm not even looking at goals at the moment. I'm looking at my body. I must say I do retain a lot of water. It's just water, guys.
Did that kid give you
a lot of stick? And exactly why I went to.
What you can't see on the vision there is Archie actually ran to the Melbourne City fans and gave the big fist bump, the big celebration, still rubbing him up the wrong way.
Look, yeah.
Who's still got it? Because I saw Sasha Ognovsky there try and wood chop you a couple of times.
I'm sure if Robbie was able to get about the pitch, that he'd want to chop me too. But Sash, for some reason, just wanted to kick me. I don't know if it was bad blood from way back when I used to twist him inside out.
Yeah.
But look, it was great to play against old teammates. Skoko, Bresciano still looks fitter now than he did when he was playing.
I know Sash will be disappointed if it doesn't get mentioned. That was actually him that rattled the crossbar with a left foot strike from the edge of the box. So we didn't see that too often in his career, but he's still got the left peg working.
Hey guys, back to the A-League football. On Friday night we saw a mad end to the game over in Wellington. Just one point we've got to make, the offside ruling, and a lot of Newcastle fans were blowing up about it and saying that the VAR is different over in Wellington. Well, we can say, firstly, that wasn't offside. We've had a close look at it.
Yep.
Josh Sotirio is onside, and there are some angles at this stadium which VAR, the line, can't pick up. This wasn't one of them.
Okay.
It just didn't go through to the TV truck. So it was onside, it was all cool, and it was fine. So the controversy taken out of the situation.
Well, obviously it looked tight, but you've solved that for us and you wrapped it up, so there should be no complaints.
Archie's play of the round, though, comes from that game, and it was late in that game because Wellington don't walk away with 3 points without Marinovic, the keeper.
Yeah, he was outstanding, and especially in that last period. I think when Jets were dominant for the last sort of 15 minutes, I actually, to be honest, thought that, obviously wrong footage, but I actually thought that they were dominant throughout that whole game. Jets should have won that match, and I actually believed that Jets didn't look like a team that was on the bottom of the ladder. The way that they played, there was a number of opportunities they had to score, but Marinovic, last 5 minutes, even the last minute he pulled off one side that I can remember was off Shepherd, that could have turned the game, but he was outstanding and stood tall.
That was 95th minute. Stuck out the left leg, I think it was, and cleared it away.
Yeah.
I think
Here it is, Arch. We found it for you.
Finally.
Guilty.
Point blank range. He does everything right. Shepherd hits the target, and Marinovic left foot sticks it out. That's world class.
Now, thanks to Western Union, you've got a play of the round as well, Robbie, but I think we've just given it away, perhaps.
That's all right. We can have another look if we want to. But, yeah, obviously, Mile Uznic for me was absolutely class. Yeah. I said during the call that, he hasn't always scored a lot of goals, but he took his chances really well tonight. He scored a number of spectacular ones throughout the season, but he was right place, right time for Adelaide United in this one, and he's a large part, I suppose, of why they've taken all 3 points here today.
Now, my player of the round is actually a group of people of the round, highlighted by Nick D'Agostino scoring the goal for the Olyroos to get us to the Olympics. But what this team and this squad and the management has been able to achieve and get this bunch of players to an Olympic Games in men's football for the first time in 2008 is nothing short. I won't call it miraculous because that sounds like I'm taking something away from them, but it's nothing short of outstanding. It is just a superb achievement. I did the stats of the A-League boys. The A-League boys had played 38% of the game time available to them in the lead up to this tournament so far this season. So they didn't exactly go in there hitting the ground running in terms of the amount of football that they played, but they qualified.
Well, I think Arnie obviously needs to take credit for the fact that he's motivated these players that you rightly mentioned haven't played a lot of football, was able to get them up and about. And in the period where we haven't made the Olympics, it's not the case that we haven't made it. We haven't even been close. We haven't even got to a playoff. We haven't even got through a group stage, I don't think. So for them to go through, beat a very, very good Uzbekistan side, they need to take a lot of credit for this performance. There was patches where they weren't great. Hold our hands up for that. But the main thing was that they're there, and we can really build on that this year.
Yeah, Archie, you pumped about that?
Definitely, because I was actually at the last Olympics in 2008, so I know what it was like firsthand to be involved with Olympics. I don't think you would have needed too much motivation from Graham Arnold from the players' point of view to want to go to Olympic Games. I know there's a lot of players in the A-League still that have ambitions to go to the Olympics. I think Dorigo is one player who's only 18.
Well, you talked to Riley today.
Yeah, and Riley Australia also, I mean, they're chomping at the bit to get the opportunity to go to an Olympic Games. And if you go to an Olympic Games, it just opens up so many more avenues from scouts' point of views to big teams watching. So it's a huge opportunity for some of these young players to go to Olympics, but to further on enhance their careers to go overseas.
A lot of the chat today has been about overage players and who gets to go. We know that a large chunk of this squad's going to be in trouble, and that goes back to the point you made before. Players who are playing at their clubs are going to put their name in the forefront of Graham Arnold's mind, and all these players that played yesterday and in that squad, when they come back from China, they need to make sure they're pressing their claim here in the A-League.
How's the village, by the way?
Yeah, stayed away from that. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Stayed separately?
No, we were there for a little bit at the start, but unfortunately our games were elsewhere, so we never got a real taste of the village.
Go back there though?
We did go back, but I was one of the older chaps, so
You were a chaperone, were you?
Yeah, I had other priorities.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Move on, mate.
Let's get back to what we saw tonight, and Adelaide United beating Western United 4-1. Really entertaining fixture here at Whitten Oval, and Simon Hill is standing by with one of the winning players.
Well, Nathan, off the bench and onto the score sheet, you must be happy with that.
Yeah, really happy to get the opportunity and to get the goal and to get the winner.
It was a real topsy-turvy game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we controlled the first half. We were clinical, and I thought we were the better team in the first half, and then it was unfortunate to concede that goal just before the break, and then second half, it could have gone either way, but luckily we got the result.
Talk us through the goal. You don't score that many in the A-League, but you hit that one nice and true. Is that always in your head? Yeah, I know. I'm giving him a serve. Thanks. You score more than me, Nathan, to be fair.
Yeah, with the limited game time I've had, so it's good to get on the score sheet. But basically, Maria kind of just bumbled me out the edge of the box. And, at training, I'm used to just putting it in that corner, so, just back myself. And,
Back-to-back wins now. Can you build on this?
Yeah, for sure. The boys are training really hard, and I think it's just, replicates how hard we're working in training. So, keep the ball rolling. It's good.
Congratulations on the win and the goal.
Thank you very much, mate.
The juvenile nature of football is to the forefront once again in the dressing room. He was good, and as you mentioned, Robbie, he's going to get a bit more game time with Vinny Lee, who didn't get a lot of game time himself. But we saw him last year, and Marco Kurtz trusts him in some big games as well. He's a bit of a talent.
He's got some good energy. I think he's a player that can get up and down. He's more of that number 8 rather than a 10 or a 6. And again, I can't remember the game, but I remember him scoring an absolute bullet of a goal in off the crossbar. It might have been FFA Cup. So he's definitely got it in the locker, and he said, he does it at training, so back yourself in, why not?
Arch, one last one as we leave Whitten Oval, and we're hearing that we might be back. Western United trying to move a game here later in the season. You think A-League football belongs at a ground like this?
Oh, definitely. I mean, look, you're in the inner suburbs of in the west, and people love their football here, and it's a big community, and it's not far away from the pitch, so you get a taste of the atmosphere, and the players like it. I mean, I had a quick word after the interview to Durante, and he says, I wish there was more games here, so hopefully there is.
He could get his wish. Gents, thanks very much for this weekend. Enjoy the week, and we'll be back next weekend on Fox Sports for plenty more football. It's been a successful weekend. Goals are plenty, good games, good crowds, loud as well, and the Olyroos through to the Olympics, which was most important. Thanks for your time. We'll catch you next time on Fox Sports.
This has been a Fox Sports production.